Hi, I'm Fred, and this is Wood Tools Workshop.
Although it is a wood tools workshop, fairly often I work with other materials as well, such as metal. I didn't have to cut steel bar many times before I said, "There's got to be another way." So I decided to build a metal cutting station. I had seen a pattern in a past Woodsmith magazine that suited my needs, so I followed that. It called for 3 layers of plywood in the base. I decided to use MDF for the bottom 2 and Baltic birch for the top. The 3 pieces measured 21 by 23 each, which meant there was a lot of gluing to be done. It was while I was gluing them up that I began to see the utility of having a glue roller. I initially didn't put enough glue between layers 1 and 2, so I doubled up between 2 and 3, and that was when I found that, yes, it is possible to use too much glue. I always get a kick out of rounding the corners on a tool or jig. It's aesthetically pleasing as well as less likely to jab a rib or something. But I noticed early on that the wood magazines always round the corners in their patterns, so I started saying it isn't professional until the corners are rounded. The base has a 4 by 6 inch notch that sticks out on the back. It was too thick for my jigsaw, and the base was too big to cut the inner 90-degree corner on the bandsaw in one pass. I had to cut halfway in, back out, and finish it in the other direction. A support arm will bolt to the base here with 2 half-inch carriage bolts. The bolts and washers that hold them are recessed in these 1 1/8 inch diameter holes, which are about 5/8 of an inch deep. Through holes for the bolts are 1/2 inch diameter. The base has 2 rows of holes for threaded inserts to hold the fence, one forward and one back. Each row has 2 holes on either side of the middle where the cutting will be done. I don't have a 3/8 inch brad point bit, so I used a Forstner, but I had a real problem with it. It wouldn't discard the waste, and I was constantly stopping to clean it out. Finally, I used it just to start the hole for clean edges and finish the 1 inch depth with a twist bit. I used a 1/8 inch round over bit to smooth the edge of the base. Minwax stain, Minwax polyurethane. The only thing left to do at this point in constructing the base was the threaded inserts. But threaded inserts are hard to get started and hard to keep straight. And that led to making a jig that would hold the inserts in place as I screwed them in. You can see the gradual development of that jig in my video called Threaded Inserts Easy Jig.
There were four major parts to this project. First, the base, and then the rail and the support arm that the cutter rides on, the assembly that rides on the rail and holds the cutter, and then finally putting everything together. One part of the base assembly wasn't possible until after the rest of it had been done. I wouldn't know where to locate the metal channel in the base until I had mounted the cutter so that I could determine where it would touch.
The steel channel measures 1 inch wide and 1/2 inch deep. Allowing for 1/8 of an inch steel plates to overlap it, that meant the dado would be 1 inch wide by 5/8 inch deep. My dado set won't cut a 1 inch width in one pass, and 5/8 is definitely too deep for one pass. I divided this chore up into 8 passes, cutting approximately 3/16 deeper each time and moving the fence midway to widen the cut. The steel plates are 1/8 of an inch thick and 4 inches wide. With approximately 1/4 inch overlapping the channel, the dado for each plate would be 3 3/4 inches wide, which divides evenly into 5 passes for a 3/4 inch wide dado cut. But allowing for a bit of overlap each time, it was actually 6 passes on each side to cut the dados for the steel plate.
That's it for the cutting and drilling on the base. We'll save mounting the hardware until we've assembled everything else and we're in the final stages putting it all together. The next video will be the rail and the support arm. So be watching for that. See you soon.